첫 번째 섹션인 비트맥스의 프레젠테이션부터 시작해보도록 하겠습니다. 비트맥스는 세계 최초 다굴 채굴 모델을 도입한 아시아 기반의 암호화폐 거래소로서 기관 및 개인 투자자들과 다양한 사용자들을 대상으로 해서 암호화폐 거래에 지원을 하고 있습니다. 비트맥스는 비트메인, GBIC, 그리고 FBG 캐피털, 매트릭스 파트너스 차이나 등의 업계 선도 캐피털 파트너들로부터 성공적인 전략적 투자를 유치했습니다. 그리고 금일 프레젠테이션을 해주실 비트맥스의 공동 창립자이자 CEO이신 에리얼링님은 18년 동안 전략 컨설팅 및 금융권 경력을 보유하고 계시고요. 도이치뱅크 미국의 유동성 및 투자 상품 부문 대표 등을 역임을 하셨습니다. 에리얼링은 주식, 채권 등 전통자산 투자 및 M&A 등 기업, 금융 분야에서 깊은 지식과 경험을 보유하고 있고요. 이를 바탕으로 오늘 소개해드릴 암호화폐 거래소 비트맥스.io의 거래 플랫폼 설립을 지휘를 하고 있습니다. 그럼 첫 번째 발표를 해주실 에리얼링을 무대로 모시도록 하겠습니다. 큰 박수로 맞으시기 바랍니다.
Hi, good evening. Thank you very much, Block 72 and GB for hosting this wonderful event. And thank you very much for all of you to join me tonight. And I don't know how many of you know Bitmax.io. Basically, is an Asian-based exchange. We actually publicly launched in mid of August. And within the last 6 to 7 weeks, we've actually achieved a tremendous amount of growth. Trading activity, we've got almost more than 100,000 users registered. We've got a trading volume that averages between 20 to 35 million US dollar a day. And it has been a tremendous amount of work from the team, as well as we build a great relationship with the user communities and the global users. And when we look at the trading statistics, we've noticed there are lots of users are actually coming from Korea markets, and this is a very important market for us. And that is why I'm here tonight to really talk a little bit about who is Bitmax and what we're different, and what is our vision, and what is a lot of people ask me and my team lately about transaction mining, and then we're going to talk a little bit about that. And also, most important thing for Korean market, this is such an important market for us. We're going to make some real good exclusive announcement in terms of the next phase milestone. So this is the 5 things I'm going to talk about today. So, yeah. So basically, I'm looking around from a cryptocurrency development perspective. A lot of the team I've met, I've worked with, they're very young, a lot of them coming from technology backgrounds, and but the team who built Bitmax and where they come from. Actually, this is always interesting when I look across all my founding team members, including my founding partner, George Tao, Professor Dr. Tao. We look across, we actually have more than 100 plus years of experience from the Wall Street financial service. And this is actually really is huge in terms of from looking through the last 20 years of the experience of what happened on the Wall Street in terms of financial industry development, products. So I actually, I joined Wall Street in 1999, and for the last 18 years, I've spent a lot of time across the major investment banks, both in the United States as well as globally. So I've looked after the strategy planning, the business development, and I'm a founding partner for Bitmax, and my other founding partner, Mr. George Tao, he's also coming from a heavily quant trading environment. And when we're looking at this, when we look at how we build up Bitmax, the wealth of knowledge, wealth of expertise, it makes a huge difference. And then, so what kind of experience we've got? Basically, personally, I have trading experience, business management, development experience across all the asset class, from equity to fixed income to FX and commodities. And we've got really more than average experience of the team is more than 10 years. And we've got the team member with expertise coming from the quant trading, technologies, financial modeling, actually market entry, and also we've got team member has a lot of expertise in the internet development as well. So this is a really very well diversified experienced team versus a lot of the crypto blockchain technology with very young brain. We've got pretty seasoned team here. So we understand what happened in the last 20 years, up and down in the financial industry, and we've gained a lot of insights in terms of the capital markets rules, regulations, market structure. When I say market structure, it really means one is what typical trading asset, that particular asset, what is the business model, what is the trading mechanism, what is the regulatory framework for that. So my entire team coming from the deep Wall Street background, we all understand, for example, for equity trading, what is the typical exchange business model, very centralized. What is typical trading mechanism? It's all about price execution, best execution, price discovery, fairness, and market openness. And then when it comes down to regulatory framework in the United States, it's very much highly scrutinized, very tightly regulated. And from a risk management perspective, equity has from a regulatory perspective, it's pretty much about market risk, very little systemic risk. So this is the wealth of knowledge and expertise the team brought in. And so again, when you're looking at Bitmax, so a lot of the exchange were built by, technologists, by, Microsoft, the security manager for like Coinbase, or Gemini with, the root in the Silicon Valley. But the Bitmax is actually built by the people who have a real R&D and technical experience that building the large-scale trading system that handles pretty much millions of orders per second when in the high-frequency trading platform. The reason we spend resource build a platform like that is because we really think the future of cryptocurrencies is really going to be very much institutional driven. When you're looking at the sophisticated any security markets, this is how they behave, how they operate, how the investor works, how each participants on the market play together. This is pretty much the future of the cryptocurrency world. And the platform that we're building is really building for the future. So for all those experience and philosophy and the vision, that's what we transpire in how we build the venture. What we're trying to build is something good to great, something that built to last. So this is where, when you look around 100 years plus experience, what that is what behind the Bitmax from the people perspective. And then from a management perspective, I've mentioned myself, and from Dr. Tao, he's definitely got more than decades of trading experience in the fund environment. He's got his own hedge fund, private equity fund, and he's very early investors also in the blockchain. And my entire founding team has all the basically the experience from quant trading, startup, as well as a lot of strategic operational management experience across both the US as well as in Asia, because we've built a team in Asia as well. So where Bitmax is located is actually the front end is based in Asia. We've got office in Beijing. We've got web developers, product managers, business development that is really working closely with users, with investors to build a Bitmax venture. And from the back end, from the infrastructure, order matching, the heart of the trading engine, it is actually built by technologists, quant traders, and researchers, modelers from Wall Street to make sure that is large scale, sustainable, and also regulatory readiness. All right, so I talk a lot about what my teams are and where they come from. And I think everybody when I spoke to, from the equity investors to a lot of communities to a lot of the strategic partners, what we're looking at, what is the bottom line that differentiates us versus a lot of other exchange players. because we come from the financial service industry, very traditional. So when we're looking at a successful exchange across the board, whether it's